We've covered this in a couple other videos of how much it takes to buy a house of a certain value, where really you almost have to be a millionaire to buy certain houses. But here's some math that was done by a third party which validates some of this. How much do you need to earn to buy a $400,000 house? And $400,000 is picked because that's about the median price of a house, and you might be surprised at how much it takes to comfortably buy a house of that price. Let's take a look at the math. According to this analyst, it says that your net take-home pay should be between $10,000 and $11,000 per month to afford a $400,000 house. As an annual salary, that is between $165 and $195, depending on what state you're in and your taxes and other things. So roughly 200 grand or close to it to buy a $400,000 house. 200 grand is a significant income. There's lots of people who make that and more, but there's also a lot of people who make less than that. So here's the calculations. The average monthly payment for a $400,000 house is $3,037. That's based on a down payment of 7%, which is pretty low, an interest rate of 6.6, which is probably going to go higher, tax rate of 1%. There's some states that have tax rates of 2%. Homeowners insurance of $140 a month. That's probably a little bit low, and then PMI of 0.5%. It's also based on the idea that your mortgage payment should be no more than 28% of your gross income. So this may or may not apply to every person. If you have a lot of other debts, a lot of car payments, maybe student loans, you might want to make that lower. If you have less debt or lower lifestyle costs, you maybe can go a little higher. Also, the mortgage payment for a $400,000 house can vary depending upon if you have a bigger down payment or if you're able to get a lower rate. But what about rates? Well, rates are likely to keep climbing before they start heading lower. The Federal Reserve is probably going to announce more rate hikes. It's possible they will get closer to 9% though before they come down. They will never be where they were in 2021. So anybody waiting for that 3 or 4%, that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. What about the pricing? How is $400,000 compared to what you can expect to buy a house for? Well, that's almost exactly what the median home sales price was in 2022 nationwide. Now there's some markets that it's easy to find a house for under 400, but there's a lot of places that 400 gets you nothing. And most of the metro areas in California, you can't find anything for 400,000, much less livable. And in some areas, you can maybe find something in the threes, but it may not be something substantial. So this gives you some idea of what you're looking at in the housing market. And like we've said before, there's many examples of being able to get a house in the 2 to 250 range that's at least livable, that'll get you out of rent and start that ladder of climbing of home equity and home ownership.